Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. Apologies for the slight delay. As always, technology just failed us at the last possible moment. So again, thank you for your patience. My name is Linda Ginger. Joining me today is Managing Director of SkinO2, Alison Artia, and co-owner of family business Hansen Kitchens, Michelle Hansen. So welcome, ladies, for coming along. So CCIQ reached out to me and asked me whether I could work with Hansen Kitchens and SkinO2 to tell their story on how they adapted their business to meet the needs of a rapidly changing COVID-19 market. So Alison, we might just start with you first. Just a bit of background. You started SkinO2, a cosmetic and professional skincare brand 15 years ago. You're based at Burleigh on the Gold Coast. You have a manufacturing there and you distribute SkinO2 to a global market. You have over 1 million customers who use your product worldwide, and wow, you've got Kate Hudson, Paris Hilton and Victoria Beckham among a heap of celebrities that use this fabulous product. So congratulations, you've clearly built a very successful brand. And we're proud of you as an Australian manufacturer that is made right here in Queensland. So I guess my first question is, what was 2020 meant to bring you and the SkinO2 team?
Well, 2020 was supposed to be our best year yet, and we had plans to enter new international markets and launch an amazing new luxury range. But COVID certainly changed all that.
And changed it did. So just to give us a feeling of, what geographies do you distribute to, and also what are the channels that you get access to get your products out there?
Well, we export markets include Asia and the Middle East, and we just signed up new distributor in Morocco, and recently just returned from an India trade mission with the trade minister before COVID hit. And we sell our products to salons, aesthetic doctors, clinics and pharmacy, as well as online, direct to consumer via our website, skin02.com.au.
Fantastic. So I guess this was a big impact to your business when beauty salons were shut down, and certainly the borders were closed from an export market perspective. So you must have had like a massive hit.
Yes, we definitely did. All our exports were shut down with the stop of the flight travel, and we lost 80% of our business via our beauty salons and the distributors when they were shut down and with half a day's notice. Our pharmacies pulled down all their testers and makeup displays and just weren't selling any of our normal products. So the impact on our business was massive, to say the least.
Yeah, massive, all right. Now, Michelle, you're from Kingaroy. Your husband, Clinton, started his own business in joinery and cabinet making in 2004, if I remember correctly. And together you started the Hansen Kitchens brand in 2013. That must be like 16 years ago, serving the South Burnett region. Now, you told me that Clinton started his passion and continues that passion of crafting joinery and cabinetry since he was 15. So that's a massive amount of time. And I guess it's obvious when I spoke to you that you share the passion for customers. So I reckon it's a match made in heaven, not only personally, but professionally. So when I read all those fabulous comments on the Hansen Kitchen website and Facebook, you guys have really built a strong, reputable brand around quality and service. So congratulations. So I guess the beginning of the 2020 seems like such a long time ago. So tell us what your original plans were for Hansen Kitchens in 2020.
Thanks very much, Linda. So you're right, our business has been built on the strength of our reputation for quality design and service, and we've grown year on year. It hasn't been massive growth, but we're really proud that we have grown year on year. So in 2020, we plan to continue that growth. We've got a very dedicated team. They share our core values, and we think that our growth each year is really attributed to our alignment with our team. Prior to COVID-19, we'd been in a recruitment phase, We'd just signed off 2 new contracts, one for a tradesman and one for an apprentice, and then COVID-19 hit. So that was quite an unusual situation to be in a recruitment growth phase, to suddenly wondering if we've made the right decision. Our goal for 2020 was to make the business more profitable by becoming more efficient in our processes. We had just restructured our organisational chart. We created new roles, rearranged roles and created new roles, and we basically had planned to continue fine-tuning our processes with that goal in mind of becoming more profitable through efficiency, and of course giving our clients that exceptional experience, which was the important part of in our planning. So.
Yeah, perfect. So both of you had both trying to achieve the top line growth, and for you, Michelle, really focusing on the bottom line growth as well. So then, okay, we get hit by COVID-19. And it'll be almost like 9/11. We'll all remember exactly the moment that we heard about that event, I'm sure. So, Ali, what do you remember about that day when COVID caused the lockdown? What were you doing, and what were your immediate first thoughts?
Well, my first thoughts were just absolute shock and horror. And we were just so surprised that an alert had not been enacted earlier, and that it had reached this disastrous level right across here in our own country in Australia. It was just something we could never have imagined. And we were supporting frontline doctors and pharmacists as our customers, so we saw firsthand how the situation had just escalated so quickly here in Australia. I remember receiving heaps of panic calls from managers along with pharmacists and doctors, and they were calling us to ask us to make sanitisers and cleaning products, and they said they had no stock and desperately needed essential PPE, personal protection equipment. And initially we felt really powerless, but our whole team decided we had no choice but to help. We were really shocked, and I think that just pushed us into a survival war-like mode, and to fight against an unfamiliar, invisible enemy. We all knew we had no choice but just to get in and help our nation and our doctors and pharmacists on the front line survive.
Yeah, and pull together we did, I reckon. So, Michelle, what do you remember? What were you doing, and what were your first thoughts? And what did you do?
Well, my first thoughts were, it's not going to impact us. We're out here in the country. It's just going to hit the people in the big cities. We're going to be fine. And that was very short-lived, because it wasn't long after I had those thoughts that we started getting phone calls, to say, can we hold off on our order, and possibly can we cancel because my sister or my mum or someone's been affected. So it was at that point we realised, well, hey, we are going to be affected by this. And then I guess my first thoughts were, we need to keep our team. No matter what happens, we need to keep our team. Our team is our business. And so it was like, how do we keep them? How can we get enough money so we don't lose them? How can we survive? So it was really a lot of questions, a lot of analysing. And yeah, it was really, what do we do next? So from there, I thought about what people needed, and my thoughts went to jobs that we now call essential. I did some research online, and it was that very same day I just made the decision to drive into our local Woolies store, applied for a job over the counter. It all happened so quick. I got an interview the following day and started almost immediately. So I found myself with an essential job. So
wow, yeah, I think you did something that many of us wouldn't have even thought of doing, and all for the sake of, how can we bring in money to keep your team? I guess just having put on some new team members too was front of mind. So I guess one of the things that I found interesting about that is, what did the team think when you went and got a job at Woolies? How did they respond?
Well, I actually didn't even to be honest, I didn't think about their response. It was more of a, I don't know, maybe a knee-jerk reaction for me to be saving something to fix this problem. And they were understandably worried about their jobs. For me, it was important to reassure them that we were going to do everything we possibly could to ensure that they kept their job. No matter what happened, they had a job here at Hansen Kitchens. So I mentioned to them that I got a job at Woolies to help support the business and our family, and I didn't think much of that until there were tears. And there's nothing so humbling as men with tears in their eyes. And yeah, it was a pretty special moment. Their wives brought in baking for me, and their children, one of the kids, they made a video and called me a COVID hero. I certainly didn't feel like a COVID hero. So, you know, there was a lot of support. It really brought our team together, and I think that was where it all started. That's when we really united and we could feel a change for the better. So.
Well, I'm going to say you must have an extraordinary team, but equally they had extraordinary bosses. So, yeah, fantastic. So now the shock has set in. What do you do next, Ali?
Well, as I explained, we had really close relationships with our pharmacists and doctors in the clinics as our clients, and we started getting frantic calls for them needing that protection and sanitizer products. So we got to work and produced what we now call the SkinO2 Essentials range. It's all dermatologically tested soaps and sanitizers and workplace sanitizing sprays and cleaners and hand creams for extra dry and sort of dermatitis skin concerns. So we had all the essential raw materials in our stock that we required, but we not only exceeded all our essential raw supplies we had in stock with our usual suppliers and then all across Australia. But the only thing we had to end up sourcing outside of Australia after we exhausted all the Australian supplies was bottles, and now we're working with Australian bottle manufacturers to get up that supply to be able to meet that ongoing demand. Yeah, so we can make enough supplies.
Yeah, cool. So you were looking to launch a new luxury range, and you immediately went to an essentials range. So how successful has that new range been?
Well, the success of our range depended on the success of our team, and that's been so successful because we pulled in and fought shoulder to shoulder in the trenches, working long hours, days and nights. And the demand we had in our warehouse meant that we had to double our warehouse staff, and we're still looking for more office staff and further expansion. But it was really, really hard with social distancing, and a lot of other warehouse experienced this. So we had to pull together with our other plants and collaborate so we could run multiple plants with social distancing and keep up the demand. And overall, we created hundreds of new jobs, but it was tough.
Yeah, no, that's an extraordinary effort, particularly when I know so many businesses are having, you know, to lay off, and you're actually putting them on. It's just extraordinary. So well done. Michelle, tell us the idea that you know, that caused Hansen Kitchens to adapt during this time, and how did that idea evolve?
Yeah, so look, the idea was a team effort. My husband and I are all about creating a team culture, so it's really important for us to involve the whole team. We got everyone together in our usual fashion, and we basically said, let's brainstorm, let's think of some ideas. There was quite a few we come up with, and some of them we've used. We realised there was going to be grey nomads, there were going to be stay-mads, so there was going to be caravans sitting at home that might need renovating. So that was one idea. We knew there were students, you know, that were going to be getting homeschooled where, you know, they hadn't needed a desk before, and instead of using the kitchen table, what are they going to use? So, you know, that was another idea. But it was really the kitchen garden idea that really resonated with everyone. One of the team noticed there was a run on seedlings at Bunnings, and there was a big demand for seedlings, and you know, that equated to the idea that people needed veggie patches and somewhere to grow the seeds. So we thought it was a great idea, worth trying. To research and design and cost was this idea of making a full solution, a veggie garden, 1 tonne of soil to put in the veggie garden, ready for our customers to plant. And so that all took some time, but it was a big hit.
Yeah, no, I so love this story. I could do with a veggie box myself, so I can see why it was a big hit. So ladies, you know, I guess one of the things we've learned lots. I'm sure if you ask everyone, they will have learned lots of things. But I guess for yourselves and for your business, what did you learn the most from the COVID experience? And Ali, maybe you can start answering this question.
Oh, I guess the biggest thing was just the shock of the situation, how it helped our team just to learn to adapt to change. We became really united in wanting to save jobs and also protect our frontline workers and just meet the demand of those essential needs. So I think it was just that tough time brought us all together, and I think we really developed our sense of humour as a coping mechanism to get through and cope with the extra workloads and pressure, and that really helped a lot.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Michelle, so what did you learn about yourself and the business during this time?
Well, like I said earlier, there was a lot of questions pumping around my brain, and one of the things that in the past I haven't been comfortable with is change. So it was quite a, you know, an interesting thought for me that all of a sudden I was getting more comfortable with change. So I think for me it was, you know, there's been this journey of learning to accept change, and through that I've learned the importance of including others in my decision making. Sometimes I think we forget to ask the people that our business decision affects the most, and that's our team and our customers, of course. But and I think that in itself was the thing that created the success in being able to adapt was in including others in the decision making. And the other thing, I guess, was the importance of a positive mindset. So I have been doing a lot of personal work on that recently with my running and listening to podcasts and things, and I just feel that I've really proved that when people around you are confident and secure and positive, it really has a profound effect on our own thinking and our own actions, and then when we you know, react positively, that it affects them too. So I'm just really thankful that I've had that learning, and I really hope that it you know, can create some success down the track for me. So
yeah, it's amazing. I think that we don't believe we've got the strength inside ourselves until something happens like this. So yeah, it's got some good learning. Now we're coming out of COVID a little bit slowly. I even had my first facial yesterday, and it was so good. So no doubt we'll see those beautiful SkinO2 products on the salon shelves again very soon, Ali. And Michelle, I'm dreaming of one of those fabulous, well-designed and expertly crafted Hansen Kitchens for my next reno. So I guess it's just people being confident again that their income is stable and that they can, you know, have the confidence to go ahead with their projects, etc. So to the both of you and your teams, I hope the rest of the year holds some great things for both of you. But what is your next steps for post-COVID? Now, Michelle, what are those next things that you're doing, that you're thinking of for then?
Well, Linda, one of the first things we did when, you know, COVID hit was, well, I created a new file called post-COVID file. So my next move is going to be putting a new file in there called Linda Ginger needs a reno. Yeah, so we'll probably go through that, you know, and see where people are up to. So that'll be a step. But I think the big one is to celebrate the win. So often, you know, I forget to celebrate even the small wins. And just getting through this period and still being in business is a win for me. It's a win for every business. It's a win for all the workers. So I can see a team barbecue coming up soon. The boys love a good barbie. So.
That's great. And Ali, what's next for you? Actually, can I just say one thing before that, and just on Michelle? I think it's fantastic that you have got a post-COVID, so you're planning. I think this is probably a really good thing for anyone listening here, is to have a plan post-COVID. Sometimes we can get so into what's happening to us that we're not making plans to come out. So I hope everyone's really making those plans, and sometimes just having that little post-COVID, folder, as you're talking about, is having that mindset of going, okay, what is our plan for after this? So Ali, your plan for after this, coming out of COVID?
Well, gosh, I really wish we were in the post-COVID time now. I really can't wait. It's with the rest of the world. But I realise we're only in phase 1 coming out of lockdown now. So we're here for the long haul, and we'll fight with the rest of Australia and the world until this is defeated. All our changes that we have made are for good, and I must say they're definitely mostly for the better. So some of our team will stay working from home if it better suits their lifestyle. A lot of the ladies with little ones prefer to be in the office, and others prefer to be at home. So whatever works to stay creative and get our jobs done, we will. And our new essentials SkinO2 range has been priced more affordable for post-COVID lockdown and the economic climate, better in line with the current 10% drop in GDP. We've also made more multitasking products to help reduce waste and offer more value to our consumers, and we'll think there'll be a lot more trends like this in the cosmetics sector coming soon, which is much needed. And our new essential skincare formulations are really amazing. So we created them with natural botanicals. So it's got things like essential rose oils, which are calming and healing, both to the body and mind, and we really need that now.
We all need it.
And we've got our soaps here, so it's really good for dry skins, and that's made with essential oils to calm and soothe irritated skins, bodies and minds. So as for international freight and international trade, international freight is a huge concern for us. So depending what happens in the next few months, we'll probably trade a lot differently internationally in the future. But this business modelling is really good for us. We think it'll be better for the environment anyway and help to reduce our carbon footprint. So lots more big changes on the horizons in that regard. And from this whole disaster, we've definitely realised we're able to scale and create and develop a lot more quickly than we thought was ever possible. And I'm just so proud of all our team, how they pulled together and did that. And for the next few months, we're especially focused on local trade, which has dramatically increased. And we're just so thankful to the support we received here at home from the Chamber. Just being there to support a small business for everything we needed, to be a voice to government. We just can't thank them enough for all the resources and support they provided through that time. And just from our customers choosing to buy local and support and create Australian jobs, we can't thank you all enough. And to our fellow business owners and to the CCIQ members, we'd like to offer a special CCIQ 40% off code, and so you can go to our website, skino2.com.au, and this will be sent out by the marketing team after the webinar. Just to a big thank you to everyone, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Ali. Look, that's such a generous gift. You'll see my order. I just wanted to say, I know it's near wrap-up time, but look, thank you so much, Michelle and Ali, for sharing your business stories. And thank you for everyone who's been listening on this webinar today. Like, all of our businesses are champions, and it's fantastic seeing how we are supporting each other. And yes, I've seen such amazing work being done by CCIQ. So for just bringing that community together and advocating on their behalf, it's extraordinary. So I'm hoping that in some small way your stories can inspire and apply to other businesses as well here in Queensland. And I think, you know, one of the things that came out really strongly was that this is the time when you need to know your customers. They're also going through change, and change that may be permanent, and you really need to be on top of how you can actually know what those are so that your company or your business remains relevant and competitive. So, yep, the world's changed, and you need to really know what those changes of your customers' priorities and attitudes are. So thanks again, ladies. And for any of you listening, we're actually having another Adapting to Thrive webinar next week, the same time, where I talk to Federico from Great Therapy and Kate Scobie from Forks and Fingers about how they're adapting their business during this COVID environment. So again, thank you for participating, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Bye, Michelle.
Bye. See you.